I think it really was a case of I don't know what else I wanted to do. I think I must have been really like, that's it. There was no room for anything else. I mean, why would you spend all that time at university if you're not enjoying it? If someone gives you the opportunity, you've got that, I'm gonna do it. It's slightly deluded. I don't think there's anything people can't do.
What is the thing you've always loved doing? The quiet, consistent thread in your life isn't just a hobby, but your direction. In this episode of More Than a Score, we're joined by Sophie Perez, fine artist, Royal College of the Art graduate, former elite cyclist, studio founder and mum of 3, whose pathway reminds us that success isn't linear and it certainly isn't defined by a single score. From studying painting in London to couriering by bike, racing internationally, stepping away from art for a decade while raising her family and then rebuilding her creative practice here on the Mornington Peninsula, Sophie's journey is layered, honest, deeply human, and full of her brilliant sense of humour and fun. In this conversation, we explore what it means to back yourself, why comparison can quietly limit your growth, the power of community, and how success evolves as you do. If you're a parent or educator wondering how to support a creative child, or a young person questioning whether passion can become a pathway, this episode is a powerful reminder not to shut the door on yourself too early. Welcome to this episode of More Than a Score.
Sophie Perez, we're very lucky to have you. I'm excited for you joining us. I've been very pumped. You were very lovely as well when I reached out to see if you could join you. I loved the response that you gave. But I'm very lucky. I get to do the introduction for our guests. So I try and craft it a little bit differently. She's trying to look over Laura to see what
I can't see if I've got my glasses on.
Oh, that's always helpful. Good. She doesn't have her glasses. Wonderful. Okay. Sophie, worldly adventurer and traveller, velodrome sprinter and death defier, conqueror of the Tour de France or Tour de France, previous bicycle courier and bartender with an eye for colours, beauty, and less noticed detail, trail runner and blazer, fine artist, painter, community supporter, and a holder of a master's in fine art. Sophie Perez, it's wonderful to have you on More Than a Score.
Well, that was an exceptional introduction. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you both.
We're just so pumped to have you here. And one of the things that we do when we start every podcast episode, when you think back to the end of your time in school, were you happy with your score?
Well, I think, as you know, English, it's so different. The whole system is so different. Because you have to add it up as you go along, don't you, to get your final score. There's no such thing as a final score. It's like a grade, A, B, C. So the only subject that I really, really wanted to do was art, and I did get A, B, C in my A-level. So that was it. Really, in my head, I just needed the one to go on to keep painting.
So when you do it, it was just the one subject? When you do your A, so...
3 subjects.
3 subjects when you do A-level is...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I didn't obviously grow up here doing education, and obviously I haven't had children in the UK, so I know how much it's shifted since I did it, being a slither older than you two.
No, but we're within the same age, is that right?
If we tick the box, we're still in the same box.
Gotcha.
Yes.
We'll post that in the show notes on the socials, all right?
So yeah, I think I probably was pretty content with them. I don't think it really bothers, not the right word. I don't think it really stressed me out at school.
Yeah.
I just got on with it, and yeah.
You are the third English guest that we've had.
I've listened, yes.
And everyone has said something similar in that it really was just kind of something that you did. They got what they wanted out of it. If you consider your schooling experience and then watching your kids' schooling experience, what do you think the difference is that we place so much emphasis on this in school and you guys don't seem to?
That's a good question. For me, I think it seems like you're almost compared to your peers here. The way that it's graded and it's how it works. It doesn't matter what your best friend's doing, but I feel like here, I think from the outside, that's the pressure that my kids are feeling, because I don't think my eldest wants to go to university, and that's great. It's in a very expensive way to find out it's not for her, because school, she doesn't love school. I just think it's unnecessarily about numbers. Personally, just the schooling system, not the school. The school's brilliant, but the system itself.
But then what was it about in your education experience then?
I also think I'm a bit unique that I've got an identical twin. So I've never done anything on my own. We did everything together. We were in different subjects towards the end, but I even used to sit on a desk with her with our best friend on the corner. And believe it or not, I was the one that got moved for talking. But it was just fun. You very much go to your local comprehensive. Unless you've got absolutely no money or you win a scholarship, people don't go to private schools. And in England, we call that public schools. So I just think the whole thing was, I mean, there's aspects of it that you got rose-tinted spectacles when you're at school, but I enjoyed school.
What were your two other subjects? So, because art is and we'll come to this too, but art's been a constant throughout your life, it sounds like. What were your other two subjects?
Well, I didn't actually do art the whole time I was at school. I did it in my spare time because a bit like which one of my children now, I couldn't choose music and art. So I played the violin with my sister. So I couldn't choose it as a block. So it was only when I got to A-level, I was like, I don't want to play the violin anymore. I really want to do art. So design technology was the other one that I did, and I did really enjoy that. And the third one was another subject I'd never done, was history, because I thought that might be interesting.
And was it?
The sea in history. It was fascinating. It was really interesting. Yeah, it was, and obviously it crosses over with everything else that's going on in the world and the timeline of arts and everything. I think people forget what was going on in France at one point, was something was going on in a different part of the world. I love that aspect of it, but.
Which is a key followed your interest, that seems to be such a theme with everybody that comes on. But I think it's that allowance to follow, or that feeling free enough and liberated enough to chase based on that, instead of feeling like I've got to follow a particular pathway.
Yeah, well, I'm very fortunate that my parents have never said, I can't even think if they've even said to me, you must do this or you have to do that. Or because I said that to my son about, people are asking about scores and everything. He went, I don't think you've ever asked me what I've got in my report. And I was like, well, obviously I read it. I said, but it doesn't matter what your score is as long as you're happy and you're applying yourself. I think that's kind of how... I know my sister, my twin, found it harder. Academically we were the same, but she didn't do so well on exams. That really finished her off the exam side. But I don't know, I just think I got on with it, which is... Yeah.
When we get our kids' reports, so we're both previous primary school teachers... But we always bang on about, we really just care about the effort. And we don't want to just say there's a throwaway line, but we're actually you only know if you've put in the actual effort.
Yep.
Other things come as a byproduct from it. But if you're actually putting in a lot of effort, and then whatever happens from that,
and be kind.
Yeah,
be kind,
absolutely.
And do your best. And the grading is brilliant. And it's, as you said, we're not throwing it away. I'm very thrilled when they get high grades, because it is validation that they've put the work in, but it doesn't define them how that went. Yeah. So...
Yeah, and it's an idea of also deliberate practice too. You can put in a lot of effort, but if you haven't actually practiced or put in the time to learn it, you can still put in a lot of effort, but you might not get that payoff.
Yeah.
I always love the comments. That's what I always look for. All the numbers and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like sometimes they'll be higher, sometimes lower. I feel like those things fluctuate, but I love seeing that a teacher knows who my child is. That's my favourite part of a whole report. Yeah.
The general comment, I think we would call them as a teacher, and in Australia most of the time, that was my favourite one to write for each kid.
Me too.
I used to like spending the time doing that. But Sophie, I was really interested because when you did our pre-pod form, I found out that you had an identical twin.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I had here, I put down, so high school can be tricky and complex enough. You're trying to work out who you are. So what was it like having and being an identical twin through high school?
Well, I don't know what else. I don't know what the other side is apart from seeing it through my children.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. My sister's absolutely glorious. She now lives in Perth. She was only about a few years ago she moved over. We probably still speak about 4 times a day, so she'll probably buzz through shortly.
She can join on. She can join.
She's as mad as cheese. She's like, I'm the mad one. But no, it was just lovely. We just literally, we shared a room together, our beds were about, a little table between us. We used to even, I used to take her out on first dates, make her sit either side of us just in case they weren't, the full ticket when we'd been to the cinema.
As a chaperone?
I remember this one poor boy used to be in the orchestra. He was gorgeous, but I was like, he's a lovely person. I said to my sister, you're going to have to sit the other side of him. So he was really, really tall. I remember him sitting in the middle of me and my sister like... But I just think it's really unique.
Yeah.
Really, I'm so lucky to have a twin sister.
How would she describe you at school to help the person that's listening get an idea of sort of where you've started and your own experiences with school? How would your sister describe you?
I don't know. When we did do different subjects equivalent of your VCE up, but we were still in the same. I just remember it. We had such a lovely, lovely, lovely group of friends that I still keep in touch with now, even though we're living here and all lived near. We could walk to school together. I don't know. My sister, academically, she, as I said, we're the same. She just struggled with the pressure of it. So I don't know if she would, everyone's childhood's different, even in the same house, isn't it? Her view of how it was probably quite different to mine. But
even as identical twins, different experience. What do you think it was that helped you cope and roll with that, let's get on with it sort of attitude?
I wasn't expecting a miracle from your results. I mean, we did both revise way more than I've ever seen my children do any homework. I've got a brother as well who's super, super clever, but one of those people that just to lie on the floor with his feet up the wall and do the bare minimum. And he's a project manager. He came out with a good for honours in his engineering. He now lives in Australia as well. I don't know. It's just the same. My friends are supportive. You didn't have media, obviously. You wait for it. It's different. You go up, you get your results. It's a very different. The whole thing's different process of it. As long as you got the score. So for me, same with my children. I just didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do. You just don't want to shut the doors on the options of. Yeah. I know you can go back, but if I hadn't have got into my later education when I applied for it, would I have gone back to try all that effort when you haven't got the support and network of a school? I don't know. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think community and the support around you is critical. It sounds like you had that from a home front, from a friend's front, and then it also within the school you had some supports as well.
Yeah.
And you spoke about a pretty powerful moment for you with the Duke of Edinburgh award. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is we've had I think two other guests that have mentioned it.
He did bronze. I did the gold.
Oh, throw a bit of shade on Tom.
No,
okay.
That was lovely.
Just it's for someone that doesn't really know the Duke of Edinburgh award is, and also that key moment that you shared as well, like when you think back to it, just help someone understand what it is, and then that key moment, defining moment for you.
Because you were in England, so that was even more amazing. You got to go to London.
Oh, we went to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
It's a completely random, I think, way that gets people involved with community things. It was fun. And then by the time you get to the gold, I think you have to do a community sports something. You have to do something within a school. So I did trampolining, as you do. Yeah, and I had to do a backflip.
So the idea is to get involved in community events.
So community events. And then we worked at a school. I completely can't remember the name of it, where they had very severely disabled children. So we went in and in our school time, we made things like plastic numbers for fridge magnets, and it was about being integrated in different society. And then the big one is it's a bit like they do at other schools here. You go out the middle of nowhere with a map. You have to plan your whole route. Your bag has to weigh a ton. And you have to know where you are. So I think they would have had teachers jumping out of bushes to make sure you're on track. But it's like 4 or 5 days. We went up to the Lake District where you do a walk and you have a journal, and then you make something at the end of it, which is just a presentation of the whole experience.
Well, it sounds like a real, almost like a rite of passage that you go through, and you get to this end point, and then you create this final thing that represents what you've gone through.
Yeah.
And then how do you get to Buckingham Palace?
Well, that's the invite from the Duke of Edinburgh. That personally was. I don't know why it's about you. It's a big thing in England, the Duke of Edinburgh. I think
they have it here as well.
Yeah, they do. Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
My sister did it.
Oh, and I met up with people there. By this point, we were obviously in sixth form, and in England, you can either stay at your school. And I met up with people that I went to primary school with that had done it at different schools. And we went out on a big party afterwards. It was the funniest thing ever. I hadn't seen them since they're 12. And then we're out 18. We used to play the violin with a fun day out, really.
Well, when you've just been talking about it, you were breaking out a big smile.
I know, because it was hilarious thinking about it.
And I just think the thing, listening to what you said already, I'm getting a snapshot of your experience at school. So you're obviously a really social person. You sound like you had this interest. The fact that you had to do art on the side, and then you finally had an opportunity to say, no, this is a thing I really love. It sounds like two of your subjects were actually focused on sort of art and creativity. And then at the same time, you're throwing yourself into this Duke of Edinburgh program where you're getting involved in different things. You're trying out new things. You go through a whole big hike where you have to navigate and get through it. Just sounds like you're someone that also is really open to experiences.
Yeah, that's spot on. I think sometimes to my detriment, I like to do 500 million things at once, all at 100 miles an hour. That's kind of my personality, which you don't notice it until someone else says, just relax. And you think, relax? Sitting down and doing nothing is the most unrelaxing thing I could think of.
So how would you relax then? If that was something you were hoping to achieve, what would you do to get there?
I like going for a run. I don't even sit down and a whole day. I stand up all day painting. I don't sit down very often. Obviously we've got the beautiful beach here. Now I can swim. I like swimming. Taking up Bikram. I just like to be doing lots. I like to be physically tired when I go to bed.
But I think that there's something in there. I think that people think that you have to relax a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think that you're already showing that, but this is what I do and that's right for me. And it's interesting that that lack of comparison that you seem to have been, despite being identical twins, which I feel as though it would be the perfect opportunity for comparison.
My parents were brilliant for that. Everybody else used to stand there and say, right, to stand together, let's have a look. Like you do that with two friends. Your face is rounder, you've got this. You wouldn't do it to people that my mum and dad never, ever compared us.
Yeah.
And you really notice that as you get older, that they've never, ever... They've both got proper jobs, as my family friends used to say, my sister and my brother. But nobody was ever compared. We're all individual, which all three of my children are completely different.
But I just think you already seem to have a really strong sense of self quite early.
I don't think I wanted to do anything else. I don't think it was about having what I wanted to do. I just didn't know what else I enjoyed so much. So it was logical.
And I think from what I'd heard, is because we hadn't met each other until you were able to come today, but we have sort of people within the same circles. Yes. But I was aware that art had been really, really within your life the whole time. So I was really excited to have you on, because I just thought if the listeners got a child that's really creative, or they've just got this huge interest in some sort of area, I think it'd be really helpful for them to just hear more about the journey and what you've done and just how you've sort of channeled that, because a lot of the time people almost talk down about art where it's not a thing that you can go make something from it, or it can't become a career and it's really hard.
What's your backup plan?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so excited to have you on.
That's my biggest beef at the moment. Yeah. It is, especially with the government, not just here, but far up, how he's getting squeezed out of steam. Art's an invitation for me, and the arts in general, for communication, for connection, for basic human needs. So the fact that it just gets squeezed out is really painful. Anyway, going back to your question, sorry. So when I finished school, in England, you have to do a foundation year before you go on to do an arts degree. So I did that at Brighton Tech near my house. Wonderful. Did every discipline. Had a car by that point, so that was really wonderful.
And just in case if people don't know what a discipline means, discipline, just to help them get.
As in, I could have gone into photography, illustration, ceramics, fine art.
And you got to do all of.
You do it in a year. It's all a bit quick, but apparently it's the equivalent of some of the degrees here that do that. So you get a chance to do it all there, and that was when I was like, yeah, I love painting. Absolutely love painting. No backup. Is that going to be a good career move? So I applied to Chelsea College of Art and Design, and I was lucky enough to get into that. And that was a three-year BA Honours. Loved it. The most amazing tutors. Amazing. Very different, I feel, from talking to people how it was taught. There was no literal teaching. I'd never been shown how to mix paint or the technical side of it. It was about being surrounded on an even plane with existing artists and practicing artists. Obviously, a lot of art history. That was fantastic. And then I applied to the Royal College of Art, just even though a lot of people don't do it straight from a degree, to do a master's. But I was very fortunate to get in, and it's like 1 in 10 to get in, and no one else in my year got in. So you don't turn that down, do you? So that was a 2-year master's in London, which was really brilliant. Yeah.
How long were you doing art on the side when you were a kid? Because that lead up, the thing that I'm still really curious about is you made a decision, it'd be like year 11 or year 12, to say, this is going to be a subject that I pursue. Like for as long as you can remember back, you were always drawing, painting. What did that look like?
Well, my mum was I used to do lovely school sports day. She said she's still got a few of them that I did at school. I think it really was a case of I don't know what else I wanted to do. I think I must have been really, really like, that's it. There was no room for anything else. I mean, why would you spend all that time at university if you're not enjoying it? And if you get an opportunity, I'd like to think I work hard. If someone gives you that opportunity, you've got that, I'm gonna do it. It's slightly deluded. I don't think there's anything people can't do.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I think it's delusional. I think that it's.
Yeah.
I wish more people believed that.
I mean, it is a bit of a saying in our house, jokingly, I can't be that hard. And then my husband and I are doing something extremely ridiculous and we're going, no, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. But we've always both had that belief that, which we try and instill in the children, if you work hard, why can't you do it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the reason why people often talk about that 10,000 hours rule.
Yeah.
And there's been some people really pushing on that because just doing the 10,000 hours doesn't guarantee it. It's actually, you have to put in, again, that deliberate practice and really concentrated effort.
That might not know the rule.
Oh, so people would say in order for you to be able to master a craft or master some sort of skill, it's the equivalent of 10,000 hours. Now, the original study and research was around that, but it was actually about, you also need what you just said, which is, I'm imagining, constant refinement, practice, effort that you're putting in to build up your craft and your skill.
I still am. It's not something that's a bit like the yoga practice. It's not something you suddenly wake up and can do. Every single day you learn something, and otherwise I wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like I get invited to do talks and things at school and I'm thinking, oh, good Lord. oh, wow. Just because I have the qualifications and I have been doing it, there's 1,000,001 ways to do things. And I work at Woodley now on a Tuesday, which has been absolutely wonderful, completely random. Art technician there with the most amazing Emma Klein. I'm learning a lot from the children there, like sharing my ideas with them and back and forth because I'm not a teacher. I keep saying to them, why not? Why can't you do it?
Do you take a similar approach to how your tutors were? Are you showing them how to mix the paints, or are you trying to teach them in a different way to open up their minds as artists?
Conceptually, I think it's the most important thing because you're going to be in every piece of work you've done because you physically made it. But for me, when I see the children, I can see them in their practice, whatever. That's when it's really interesting. Yeah. It's like handwriting. It's hard to change it, but they're in charge of it. Obviously, you've got your curriculum, but it's the way it's taught has been really brilliant. Some of the students there.
This might be a really dumb question. So when you say you're going to help them conceptually, if I was in the class to learn from you like that, what would that look like?
Yeah, well, as I say, I don't teach this. This is from the amazing Emma Klein, but they want you to have a historical reference of where you sit with your own practice, what's been going on before that, how to interpret artwork instead of it just being a literal something in front of you. Doesn't have to be what is it trying to say, but you don't want a painting for me, well, especially for me, that I've got it on first look.
Yeah.
I want, if something's going to be on my wall, I want to, you see something in it every day that is someone else's hand in it, something else I'm learning from it. And I love paint. The medium of paint just floats my boat.
So it sounds like it's more about not trying to create a thing for the teacher or the class, but actually thinking about what it is you're
200%. Yeah.
Is it okay if I share a little bit about the story? Is that all right, Loz? Is that okay? So, because I think about with your journey from this, and please jump in if I get this wrong, because I was doing some research and I went down a slight rabbit hole with even seeing some of your results from when you did some cycling internationally. I did see a third as well. All right. But here we go. So, you mentioned already that diploma in art and design, which you were using as a way to bridge to get into a full arts degree. You have to do that. So I think the fact that's really interesting into itself. You had to go through that without a twin being there. So that was your first moment of being separated.
There was two twin sisters.
That was traumatic. That was.
Because where did she go?
She went to Kiel University up north.
What?
Oh,
did you? I did a semester in Kiel.
I think we cried every single night for about 3 terms, absolutely ridiculously blubbering down the phone, crying.
And you'd call each other each night, I'm imagining, or?
Yeah. That was also a good thing. I think and a bad thing. I think we became more independent. I think.
What was she doing there?
She was doing psychology and English.
Okay.
She's actually now a brilliant, she was an intensive care nurse in London, but since she's moved here, she's a nurse at a practice in Perth.
It's quite a different journey.
Yeah, my brother's an engineer, very similar.
That's amazing. An adventure for yourself, right? So you're moving away from this person that's been next to you. I mean, the same for her as well.
Yeah.
So you go through that, you get into the Bachelor of Fine Art painting. Mm-hmm. You then move to London. You're living in a flat in London while the rest of your family then moved over to America at that point in time.
Yep.
So again, even more independence, we'd probably say.
Didn't have a phone, did we, at that time either? So.
And then you got in, as you said, one of 10 places to get into the Master of Fine Art painting at the Royal College of London. I'm still looking, you're nodding, this is good. Then you got to, I wrote it down as you lived the dream of travelling around Europe as part of your study with this course. to go to really beautiful romantic places like Florence, Tuscany, different areas around Europe. As you started doing that, you then started cycling and doing race.
When I finished my degree, I was a courier in the summer because I tell you what, that's probably, apart from painting, my second favourite job ever. I think I've had one day as an office job in my entire life.
Well, for someone that doesn't know, like, relaxation for you is not sitting down. Relaxation is couriering on a bike.
Brilliant. I got my fixed wheel, had no brake, so I got quite good at that. And then I met an Australian, didn't I?
That's always a problem.
Happens to the best of us, yeah. And he was a phenomenal cyclist. So I started riding at Herne Hill, which was quite near. And then I met him at an open day one day. I'd gone with all my courier friends, and he thought I'd gone with them as they were there with me. And then, as we put it, he did persist for about 4 weeks before I agreed to go for a bike ride with him. But yeah, we met there.
Did your sister go on the bike ride?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
No, she didn't. Yeah. She, at this point, she was living with me, so he used to come around for dinner with me and my twin.
He really did persist.
He's a good sport, yeah.
And so is it around this time then? Because I was reading through what you'd shared with us, and then also a little bit of reading. Then you raced in the women's Tour de France.
I did, yeah, the Tour de Femme. Yep.
And you also then, you and your now husband, but you also then actually followed people doing the Tour de France as well.
Well, we did that about 3 weeks before our wedding. So I had my wedding dress, which I'm no bridezilla, was just something we'd got here, and I put it in my bike bag, which was with the bike, but I did fall off about 3 weeks before my wedding, so I had to slightly wear a little bolero because I had filed my elbows to smithereens. But yeah, then we did our honeymoon by following the Tour de France round. And
Laura, it sounds like we should get a little photo from Sophie of this moment in time.
I look young and slim and BC, as we call it. It's like, oh wow.
But I love this dress, and then throughout all the background is that creative, the art, painting, and you even just said before you just love the medium of painting. So then you move to Australia, 3 kids, full-time painter. You start showing in galleries within Victoria, then across Australia as well. You then become a co-director of an art gallery, and then more recently, you've just opened up the Sophie Perez Studios here in Hastings, Mornington Peninsula, while also working 1 day a week at Woodley School as an art technician.
And I'm now represented by Australian galleries in the city, so I've just had my first solo show with them, which
just finished up early in November, didn't it?
It did, 8th of November, and that's, for me personally, an absolute highlight of being invited to work with them. Stuart Purvis and his team are just,
Can you say a little bit more about why that's such a highlight for you? Because you just glowed.
Because as a painter, you're in that... it's a very solitary career. Doesn't matter if you have people with you. And yes, I say I'm full-time, but I'm not really full-time. I've got 3 children. I've got this. It's full-time is in that aspect. But Australian galleries, I think it's around, I'm going to say 56 it was started. Stuart Purvis and his mum and dad started the National Gallery of Victoria. Their stable of artists are eye-watering. Absolutely. One of my first galleries when I moved to Australia, I went in and I was blown away by. So they contacted me early last year and asking me if I'd like to have a chat and come and show with them.
And obviously, did you just try and play it really cool while that phone, and just put the phone down?
Well, I was really cool because I was clearing up horse poo in the pitch black with my daughter with head torch, and then we realised I was so flustered I cleaned the wrong paddock in the dark. So we got back in the car and I said, Millie, that's not your horse. It's like this great big... we were like, I've worked with lots of galleries, but this is a different colour. I mean, right now they've got a Robert Motherwell and a Henry Matisse works in the space. So they are... And they've been... I know that...
And now Perez.
And a Perez in there. But so that's been a very, for me personally, a little goal of getting with a gallery that I've been quite selective, which they did say was a good thing. I don't show everywhere. Because, you don't want to feel like you're 2 for the penny. You've got to,
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's really amazing. When you think back to sort of all that you've done, all the study, all the adventures, all the passions, interests, all the travel, like what have been the key lessons you've learned throughout all of the study and adventures that you've had?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's don't shut the door on yourself. I think it's always keep your mind open for opportunities. I mean, I keep saying it. I don't know what else I'd have done. So when people say, how did you get into this? I just kept doing it. Just keep going. Stay in your lane. Don't lose focus what other people are doing if you don't want to do it. And it does help that I've got a wonderfully supportive husband. You know, he's never said to me, can you go and get another job for a bit? You know, he believes in what I'm doing and the new factory. That's a big project. Way bigger than I said, let's just...
The one in Hastings. Can I ask you a really curious question? How have you seen your art evolved over time? Because obviously so much of your art is nature-based now.
Yeah.
Has it always been that way?
No. That's a very good point. It's very reflective where I live. Yeah. So a lot of when I was living in London, the thing is also you get put in a studio. When you're at college, you go, there's your studio, go for it. And you're a bit like, go for what? How do you even begin? So that was when the bike thing, I used to do a lot of cycling around, a lot of things that outside, yes, it was a lot more urban, a lot more industrial, and a lot more drawing. I've always drawn, even with paint, I feel like I draw. But I do, since doing a lot of trail running, this is really like, I'm obviously love for the peninsula. Yeah. But a lot of my paintings, I really hope to capture the movement in a landscape. I don't want them static as soon as they're on the wall. I want to keep that energy in them and being immersed in it more than a literal representation of where I am. It's more of an emotional response to...
What is the process of inspiration, execution, finalising a piece of work? What does that look like?
I think it's constant. I think it's even when you're doing a million other things, I'm thinking, that would be really interesting. And as I mentioned before, I think it's the medium as well. The alchemy of paint is just absolutely endless. Right? And it's got such a, obviously, steep tradition. And interestingly, it used to be, I think it was Stuart was saying, I think portraiture used to be the number one in Australia subject-wise, but obviously now, by an absolute, is landscape. So for me, why is my landscape any more interesting than the next person that's painting the same thing? How can I bit more of me in it? What am I trying to say with a landscape, really? It's just that constant questioning. But even when all the time I'm out, that's why I wanted to sharpen my pencil. I was like,
ask for a pencil sharpener. She arrived, which I did not produce.
But we offered to get a sharpener.
Yeah, we could arrange that. Yeah.
Yes. So just to go back to Loz's question, so will you be running a trail, or you'll just be like walking over a hill and you'll spot something? Is that the inspiration that occurs for you?
I can see the composition when I see somewhere. I can see, it's almost, if I can't see it when I'm in the studio before I start painting, I can't do it. But if I can see it as a finished thing, I was talking to one of my really good artist friends yesterday, and he said, I really need to get into being able to do my compositions on the computer. And I was like, what for? I was like, that is like my worst nightmare. The whole point for me is it's the surprise of getting in that flow state of painting it. And then you go, it's either, oh God, that's terrible, I'll leave that. Or, I don't remember actually painting that bit. It's more about the emotion of it. You kind of look at it, and because I'm very, very intuitive with how I mix my colours and how it works. Everyone's got a pair of eyes. You either like it or you don't. People say, "How is that a good piece of work?" Well, I don't know. You're the one looking at it. It's no right or wrong for me.
Yeah.
And how have you found throughout your journey, do you listen to people's feedback about your artworks, or do you just not take on board if they say they love it, if they don't like it? How do you manage feedback?
Well, that's not really feedback, is it? If they like it or don't like it, that's like that. I love constructive. Yes. I've got some really brilliant friends. One of my great friends called Sarah McDonald, who's an amazing artist in Adelaide. We went painting together about 4 years ago up in East McDonald Ranges. I'd never met any of them. We'd all shown in different galleries, 10 women, and we painted for just over a week out in the most phenomenal, probably dramatically life-changing trip, because I think we all it's the first time we felt like we did before we had children, because there was no reception, and it's a selfish, art can be a selfish practice, but I didn't have to think about what someone wants a snack, someone wants a drink, or can someone be picked? I was so in it.
Yeah, in your flow state.
It was just the most amazing experience. Anyway, Sarah, who I met on that trip, we've done several trips again. Did a residency at the Margariola last year, the Nancy Fairfax residency. We FaceTime a lot, If I said to her, I'm just mixing this up, right, tell me what you think of this, and she does the same for me. I've been battling with this, I've turned it round. What immediately jumps out with you that's wrong or isn't working for you? So I've got a few.
Yeah, so you'll literally get your the camera, you'll do a video call, and then you'll show them the artwork in process as it's going.
Because sometimes you're like, it's better to turn it round.
Yeah.
Because, I always say, that was better 5 strokes before I kept going. Sometimes you just have to be brave, for me, to just stop, turn around. I usually work on about 6 or 7 at once for that reason, that clearly I can't stick on one because you mix up the paints, and I like to keep the first marks towards the end.
Because I think everyone, in your head, you just have this way that you do things.
Yes. Yeah.
But the more people we talk to, we're realising that that's normal to you, but to everyone else, we don't know the way that you're thinking. Yeah. So even hearing you explain that, so it goes from you might notice a moment or a thing, you start to naturally see how you should set out the painting. You naturally think about ways you're going to mix and craft the
I do the colour. Especially when we're swimming and you see those amazing magical morning clouds, I always go, I wonder how I'd mix that. It's like, what? Yeah. I'm always thinking, because for me, I'd never paint a sunset or a sunrise as perfect as it is. What would I add? Or, that's not something that interests me. I enjoy it by looking at it. But I do always have that moment of, God, if I put white in that wouldn't make it lighter. That would absolutely ruin that. And would I layer it on? I could feel myself thinking it's like swimming.
So you're then creating and playing around with the colours. Yeah. And then, but you can see in your head the whole time the way that the painting should just be set out and struck.
Vaguely. Yeah.
And then as you go, you sort of work it out.
And I do work quite quickly, because otherwise I feel like it's laboured and you lose that energy, which I personally, I'm a painter's painter. I love a painterly painting.
That's what the difference in process is between commission piece and something that you're just creating to create.
Yeah, there's a very big difference. I don't do many commissions. I only do commissions, like I'm doing one for a beautiful family now, because they own one of my paintings a few years ago. So if someone says, I love how you paint, I love it if they have a place that they like that's important to them, then I'll go out and I'll do some sketches and drawings and show them the kind of composition. But again, if they have something, the way they see somewhere is very different to how I see somewhere. So if someone's very specific and says something like, I've got a blue sofa that would go with it, I'm like, I don't think I'm the artist for you, because if someone starts to try and dictate, I'm very happy to hear about they like the greens I use or something. But if they've got something in mind, they are much better off buying a painting of an artist they like. Yeah, because it's a two-way thing of, commissions are brilliant, but at the same time, they can be quite stressful. Yeah.
Thinking of if there's anyone listening where they've got a young person they know, or they themselves are deeply into art. So you're obviously incredibly passionate. This has been a thing, lifelong thing that you've always just loved, and now you've turned into a career. And you're at like a real peak point, like you just said, a life-changing moment. You've had 2 life-changing moments in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been good, yeah.
So what advice, and I know sometimes people are hesitant to say, I don't like to give advice, but so what would be some tips or some guidance you'd share for someone listening that knows someone that's deeply into art, so they can have some sort of successes, or just like try and capture what you've done too?
Yeah. I mean, now, as I say, I think I've got a different viewpoint now. I'm actually with children at Woodley, because I forget my own daughter does art. But when we were looking around, I do that. Of course you do. It's the same VC. I'd personally say to all those budding art, keep your early work. A lot of people get really self-conscious and then say, I don't want this, it's rubbish. Keep it. It's got so much in that they'll see later down the track of the ideas that it's like a book. I went to the Trent Dalton talk on Friday, completely going off tangent, but he was so phenomenally talking about everything in one, and a lot of people wanted to know, this is how I saw it, about the specific book, Gravity Let Me Go, brilliant. But everything, a bit like how I see painting, it's not that particular body of work or that one painting, it's a progression of where you got to this point. So to sit and him to try and literally describe this one book, I was like, he can't. He is amazing, but every single book and every bit of his life you can see has come into it. So for me, going back to that with art, keep those early works, keep those drawings, keep things that everyone's very self-conscious, and it's like nobody's judging it, but you will really be grateful to have them, to see when people say look back at your work, what was it like, unless you've got it or you haven't do it. You're not going to know. And enter things. There's so many young kids prizes. There's the Young Paddington Prize. There's the Young Archdiocese Prize. The regional gallery do prizes and things for your youth. Enter stuff. That's the only way you're going to get your name seen and people see it. Yes, there's Instagram, but Instagram isn't the holy grail of getting your art seen. So, yeah. And it's really hard because I know I'm fortunate that my parents just said go for it. There was no even thinking about it. And I know there's a lot of children that parents don't want them doing and they do want that backup. So it's a difficult, or they say choose something like graphic design because you're more likely to get a job. I don't think anyone's likely to get a job either way, as in...
The job landscape is shifting quite significantly at the moment. I don't think we know quite what the jobs are going to be.
No.
10, 15 years, do we?
So it's very expensive to study here.
Yeah.
So I keep saying it, do something you love. You won't regret it.
What have been the unexpected skills you've had to draw upon when you think of...
With parenting or painting?
Well, either or. But I just think because, you're... The thing I'm already noticing about you is you're just glowing and smiling so much with everything you do right now. So you're obviously at a really great point in life. So I just think I'd love to be able to share with the listener what have been those unexpected things that have helped you throughout.
I think we're all pretty lucky here. I think it's the community. I think for me, moving to the Mornington Peninsula was the sliding doors moment of... I didn't paint for about 10 years after my master's because I obviously went off cycling and then those little children take up a little bit of time. So I didn't, and I just got to the point where I was like, I can't not do it anymore. So I painted in my bedroom with like the water-soluble oils. But when we moved over this way, I went into Southern Boy, the Southern Boy framers up in Carbine Way, brilliant. And they were opening the gallery next door and I'd never framed anything. One of the staff bought 2 pieces and then they said, would you like to be in the, we're opening a gallery, would you like to be in the exhibition? And I was like, well, yes, please, thank you very much. So I was in that. And then Neil Williams, who came in to do his framing, saw my work because how I got involved with the Cook Street Collective, where I showed for a long time and then became joint directors with him. So I literally was like, this is, wow. Like, I felt like opportunities had just followed me. And again, was I ready to do it? I'd only started painting in a very small shed. The kids were still really little. And for me, it's like, you can't burn bridges. You do it and you commit. Otherwise, there's 1,000,001 of me queuing up to have that opportunity in what I'm doing. So if you don't do it.
It goes back to your point before around the don't close the door aspect, is it? That sounds like a thing that you make sure you come to do. And the way that you don't close the door is...
Just try it.
Just try it. And go to the thing. If someone offers, you say, yes, jump.
But on the flip side, I'm also getting better at things that don't work for me, just to say no thank you.
Yeah.
Because you can't do everything. But
have you got a way that you distinguish between what you need to say no to and what you need to say yes to?
I think I'm known as being quite blunt. I just say no thank you.
No, but what is it?
Yeah, how do you know?
Decide, how do you go, that's going to be a no thank you for me? Well, it's going to be an absolute yes.
Well, I do get asked for a lot of donations and a lot of things. Can you come and do this? Can you come and present a award? Can you be the judge on this? Can you do this? And so I like to say, I'll do 3 things a year. So otherwise it literally becomes endless of how many people say, can I have a painting for that? And you're kind of like, always choose 3 and say, I will choose my 3 things this year, whatever it is. Otherwise it's just, as soon as you do one. And also there's other people that need airtime more than me. Not that I'm well known, but I've got a good collector base and I'm grateful for it. So if you've got like the Art Red Hill, brilliant, the school show, I did win that a couple of years in a row, and then I said, I'm not going to enter because you've given me that airtime. Let somebody else who needs that little nudge up do it. So don't keep asking the people that are a little bit more known. It should be the other way around for me.
This lack of comparison that you have has really shone through the whole way. The fact that you feel like you're really confident in what you're producing and then you're willing to support others in a collaborative community way. I feel like it's a really beautiful mindset you have around art, because I think you're right. There's a lot of people that feel as though, well, if I'm not good enough, I'm not going to start, or there's this person's better than me, or, lots of people are painting native paintings. Why would anyone buy mine? But you've got this real instinctive, well, why wouldn't I just, because it's what I'm putting in that someone's going to want, even though there's other paintings similar. It's my view, my expression, my ability that they're going to want on their wall. I think that's a really nice way of reminding people that just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean there's no space for you.
Exactly, there's room for everyone. But that's how I feel about Australian galleries. I felt like I've been hit with the imposter stick. I was in there with all these incredible artists, and I was like, it's good because I'm at the bottom and I want to work up. I don't want to be the big fish in a small pond. It's much more challenging and interesting and keeps me wanting to be better at what I do by being at that end, which sounds hard work, but yeah.
No. You smile the whole time.
I know, because it's like there's so many amazing artists in there. I mean, art's one of those things that really, as you said, I do grin about it. It really does float my boat. Going to see a really amazing. I mean, I like musicals. I like lots of the arts. I like, but yeah,
expression.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like too, because you're continuing to just get better and better and better at what you do. That I'm imagining you. Well, like that paradox of mastery, right?
Yeah.
The more you get great at something, the more you notice how much more you still have to learn.
Yeah.
So is that something you also get as you get into these galleries and you see all these other artists before you? Are you picking and noticing things that you want to try and not take from them, but like emulate or learn from or apply to yourself?
No, I think that the real skill thing about the Australian galleries is nobody similar. They've got a really big stable of artists, and they're obviously very considered who they have in there, because the further up you get, your price points change. So that's another very considered point of. So no, I don't look at other people's. For inspiration, yes. I mean, like going to when you have like the Bonnard show here and the Impressionists. Oh, it's like a big hug. Seeing all those European artists here in Australia, and then I love quite a lot.
And I had down here, Sophie. This is something you put into the pre-pod form. The bar raises, the playing field changes with age.
I've written that too. I'm literally going to ask you how you see field change. Is that what your question was, maybe?
Yes. No, very, very simple.
I think it was in response to what do you see as success?
Yes.
So it's tricky and good at the same time, isn't it, success? So what is success for everybody? Do you want $1 million? Okay, you've got $1 million, which I don't. You want $2 million, but it's like for me with my painting, for years I've waited for this opportunity of being with a gallery that I want to be with. I've had some brilliant opportunities to the smaller galleries, but so the great, I've had that. And then I wanted the solo shows. So I was very fortunate to get my first solo within 2 years of being with them. And then I sold quite a few paintings, but then I'm like, I wanted to sell more, but nobody's putting any pressure on her. It's me. I mean, the opening night nearly killed me of just the pressure of being in this amazing gallery. So, so that to me is like my bars changed. I wanted to sell this much here. Now, it's like you're constantly wanting to, and it's not just a monetary thing, although that's very helpful. It's where you see yourself. I don't want to be stagnant. There's people behind you doing similar or same aspirations. I don't want to be that one that says, I've had a lot of that, I'll be honest, with me building this new studio. A lot of people, I wish I could have done that. And I'm like, well, you can. It's been a massive financial output, but we were running the other space in Mornington for 7 years. We're releasing that and we convert. So I know I can do it. So this is the next step, that we needed to buy something for our own, future. But it's a big effort. But the success in that is I've got 3 artists in now. I want one more. I'm still looking for a studio because the mortgage doesn't pay itself. But I want the community events. I want people to be able to drop in. I want, as a local book club, that they said, can we use your space? So I've met her once. I've given her some keys. You go for it. So she goes once a month.
So it's paying forward, because you said before that communities are really key.
Yeah.
So it's you paying that forward.
Yeah.
If you think of, I'm just really mindful that you were saying that your view of success has continued to change, and it keeps evolving. So for people listening who are maybe they're just finishing school, say.
Yeah.
And so success here in Australia can often feel like, certain score, certain grade. What would you say to them?
There's a lot of them that already know what they want to do, isn't there? There's a big chunk of children that I don't know how. I said, I'm still working that one out. They are very certain that they would like to go on and do a specific career. So that's great. Those that don't, like my daughter, I said, just as long as you're doing something, it actually doesn't matter. What your love will filter into when you have, getting money together and being a bit more independent. If you can do that, it's just such a tricky. Most people hopefully have parents that will, support them and say, as long as just don't do nothing.
Loz and I have often spoken about. There's a book called The Regrets of the Dying. I hope I get the title right. And the number one, so it's a palliative care nurse.
Yes, I've read it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So the number one regret, right, is people live a life that they think other people think they should do. So listening to what you're saying, it's just as long as you're coming back to like, is this a thing I want to keep doing, or as long as I'm just doing something for myself. I'm not saying just go out and be selfish and do whatever, but within a reason of like chase that interest, chase a thing that's for you, not just what you think mum and dad are telling you need to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to when you see your children have specific talents and you tip of your tongue, oh, I really wish you'd, but if they're not enjoying it, you can say you're really good at that and I'm really proud of you for doing it. But, there is times when you do want to say, oh, for God's sake.
I just say to one of my daughters just this week, so I love basketball. I grew up playing my basketball, rugby, absolutely love it. She's playing basketball, but I said to her this week, you don't have to keep doing it. Like, please don't feel you have to do basketball because you think I want it. Yeah. I'm like, I love coming and cheering, but I'll cheer you at anything.
Yeah. And what was her response to that?
She was like, well, I've been thinking about netball. And I was like, and internally I was like, no. And then I was like,
right. I did take it to the
great. Right. No, it was great. Because I'm mindful. And I try really hard now. I say, your job's not to please me. Your job's to work out who you are.
Yeah.
But it was hard because I'd love her to keep doing basketball. But it's that thing of, no, I want you just
She'll probably come back to it though.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or she might go do something else. Who knows? But I mean, either way, it's not about me. That's what I'm trying to make sure it's not.
In the conversation, we had the same conversation about, I said to my oldest that her job at the end of the day is to find where she belongs, not where she fits.
Yeah.
Right? Who do you spend the most time with? And she's like, myself.
Oh, that's lovely.
Exactly. So if you try and fit in with other people and do what you think they want, eventually they will go or they won't be in your life and you're left with yourself. So if you can find where you belong and do what's right by you, it's so hard though.
It's so lovely.
She said to me, did you always do that? I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I wish I did. But, we all try and fit ourselves into little places where we're more palatable or easier.
Or just take your sister with you.
So when in doubt, get an identical twin.
Exactly right. Yes. I do feel like I bypassed a lot of these social anxieties that I see with my children. I'm thinking, what, just go? And I'm thinking, it's good advice. You never did that. You had your sister in tow. But
at the same time, like we're in this space living by those values and you're sitting on our couch smiling and beaming what you get to do every day.
Yeah.
That's a pretty special place to be.
Yeah. The middle one, she competes mountain biking and she spends a lot of time with my husband. So I do the horsey thing, really, because he doesn't quite enjoy the horsey thing quite as much.
I like cleaning up the horse go,
I think to be honest, he's a little bit scared of them. They're quite big. It's not his thing. But yeah, the middle one, she does mountain biking and the younger one's athletics. So they all do their things.
They all come pre-programmed. That's what we often say. We're just like, they're not a mini-me.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too, right? Like they're just themselves.
And I think I keep saying to them, you can do whatever you want. You're the one that's putting the restriction on yourself to do something.
I see this. So that's great because the question I just had down that I wanted to ask you is, so support from home has such a big impact on young people. So when you do it well, what is it that you're saying to your kids?
Yeah. It's a very good question. Let's be honest. Do we all do it well? Do we have days?
Oh, no, there's I purposely said when it is going well. Like,
I think, you're only as happy as your unhappiest child. So as long as everyone's ticking along, I don't know. I just like to think I hope they feel that they're encouraged to do, I'd like to do a bit more cleaning around the house, whilst we're on this till it's on air. But, as long as they're doing what they find rewarding, because it's so quick, school, but at the same time, it's a long time when you're at school.
Do you say that specifically to them? Have you noticed a certain thing that you seem to say?
Well, I have, because I think the oldest one cannot believe she's just gone and jumpstart into year 12. And she's got such a brilliant, close-knit music group. And now the youngest one's going to high school, and if that's it, it's quick. I said, there's loads of time to do whatever you want. And if you just, there's a little aspect of, you can't cherry pick everything you love doing, unfortunately.
Yeah,
we say a similar thing. We sometimes say, you can do everything, but not all at once.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. So you say there's loads of time.
Yeah, well, I think
it might not be right all at once, but there is loads of time. Yeah. We'll get a chance to do things.
Yeah, and just do whatever you do it properly. Doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. You could be the world's best waitress if that's what you want to do. Great. Just
do it properly.
Yeah.
You made a comment, though, about school and education in terms of, and you didn't want to give advice to parents, but you did write in there that the school system really only suits a small percentage of kids. And now you're working in the school system a bit more. You've got 3 kids in the school system. Why did you write that? Why was that important for you to say?
Because I think it's quite an archaic way of teaching children in general. You teachers deserve an absolute bloody equivalent of a logie. I don't know how teachers do it. Like, lockdown was a good example how I've never missed that calling.
Great PR for teachers, I reckon, when we all went to remote.
Honestly,
people suddenly realise what teachers do.
I did give my teachers wine when we got back. I was just like, I love you all so much. I just think it's a lot of children aren't programmed to be sitting down and learning in the way that this whole system, not the school in particular, works. So it seems like it hasn't from the outside shifted that much in how many years? Am I wrong? I just...
Since the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, and so schooling is schooling because a lot of kids... I hated sitting in the classroom.
I was going to say, how did you do it when you just got to sit down?
Well, I just get told to stop looking out the window quite a lot. But, I'm good at multitasking. I think children have to understand that teachers are there for them. I think that's the one thing that I keep saying to my children. Once you've left school, you don't have this network and these people that are offering on tap to help you with quite literally anything you ask them for. They are really brilliant. So you actually have to be accountable to ask for help. I can't do it, especially high school. I don't really know what they do. Yeah. You do, but not in the same way that I've been involved with the primary school. Everyone learns differently. I just think they need to be so difficult for you teachers.
It is, if you do care about the kids, if the kids get a sense that you do care, then suddenly amazing things happen.
Yeah.
Like, everyone can tell when someone does. Like, you go to a workshop when someone's running, when someone presenting doesn't actually want.
Yeah.
They either don't believe in it or they don't care. If I was teaching in class where things went pear-shaped, it wasn't the kids.
Yeah.
It was me not getting a read on something. Now, a kid might kick off or something I've got, but there were moments leading up to that where I probably could have adapted. But it was normally me for myself, and especially as the adult in the room. We're the one that can actually control what's going on as well with it. Sophie, I was really mindful of asking, I was fascinated to know if you think of the listener, what's something that we haven't asked you that we should have that they might find really helpful.
What if they haven't zoned out by now how much talking?
Well, that's the answer. They are super committed, right? So let's think really deep.
I will say, based on our stats, actually,
yes.
People listen to the end.
Yeah.
Do they? Yeah.
Majority of people listen all the way through.
Well, I have. I'm a stat then, because when I'm painting, I always paint in podcasts. I don't like music. It influences what you're doing. I like to have talking. It's such a difficult time. I've seen a lot of children fall off the wagon slightly with the mental health side of the stress of this year for them with VCE and schooling, and it's very easy from the outside not to say don't worry about it, but it is what it is. You put in the work and it's kind of out your control of really.
Well, it goes back to your point before about there's loads of time, right? Like, it's just one point in time.
It is.
And we've had some other guests say, like, it's just the start.
Yeah.
We often sort of come back to it.
I'm really fascinated by the fact that every UK guest we've had is so much more nonchalant about their schooling. And we were chatting to Gwen, actually, who is another one who's coming up.
It'll be released by the time this episode. Yeah, to check out Gwen's episode, everyone.
We're chatting to Gwen, and she reflected on the fact that she said I didn't speak enough about my schooling. So I think it reflects how impactful it was.
Yeah.
Because her schooling was not even a third of the conversation, maybe a quarter. Yeah, she moved on because the journey was so much larger. Whereas a lot of our Australian guests, school component takes much longer time of their conversation. And I just wonder, it would just be so lovely for school to be part of that journey. It's this really intense time. And I feel like that's what seems to be going on in Australia.
It's true, because when I first moved here, the first thing I heard, I think it was Eddie Maguire on the radio, the first thing he said was to his guests, what school do you go to? And they were all whatever they were, the hell breather something, whatever. And I was like, no one has ever in my adult life asked me what school I went to.
That in itself does let you know, right? Like, it can feel like it matters, but ultimately...
St Andrew's Primary School.
Shout out to Andrews.
And I was secondary school.
But so it's like these, Eddie Maguire is an accomplished person and why is he interested? Like, why are we interested?
Because I think you have a much more of a generational, you go into the same school. Like, a lot of parents went to that. So it seems for me that people are going to that school because it's been a family tradition.
And I think humans also like to try and put categories or labels. So if we hear a thing, then we can easily try and group someone into to make them one thing. We like to make something nice and easy so we can make a bunch of assumptions too. But no one is any one thing.
No.
Right, Laura?
That's right.
So,
It's just making me reflect on the American university idea of if you want to go there because of the name of something. I'm wondering if we've got that filtered down here too.
Yeah.
That idea. It's not,
I think you do from the outside.
it's not something that are prescribed to. So so it's just it's just interesting.
It's a different class system here though in the UK. It's much more apparent than it is here. It's, for me, with the schooling.
Sophie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I feel like we've been so lucky to hear you just sharing this insight into the way that you went from a thing that you used to do on the side to then jumping into art to be this like key subject that you did, which you've then turned into a whole career alongside lots of other pursuits, like a million different things that you do too. But at the heart of it has always been this thing of like, why wouldn't you just give it a go? And you've also got loads of time to still jump in but do it properly. So thank you so much for joining us on More Than a Score. If you are listening and you do know someone that has a great story similar to Sophie's or very, very different to Sophie's, we'd love for you to reach out to us at morethanascorepod@gmail.com. Laura, our handle for Insta is
More Than a Score Pod.
Very good, Laura. It definitely is. Sophie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. It's been lovely to meet you both.
Great. Thank you.